channel. Today I am testing out, yes, another foundation and concealer, and I know that probably so many of you guys are just done with foundations and concealers. I get it, I get it. I do have the new Benefit. This one will be up on my channel soon. This is the new one. It's just the mini size. I will be reviewing this. I'm really excited to play around with this. This foundation is the Beauty Bakerie InstaBake Aqua Glass Foundation, and then they have the 3-in-1 concealer that's kind of the mate to this one. I've had so many of you guys request this. Like, so many of you guys have said, hey, will you please review the new one from Beauty Bakerie? Because I felt like the Beauty Bakerie new launch kind of got pushed to the side with all of the other bigger brands that launched foundations. Urban Decay, Charlotte Tilbury, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Fenty, all of these big brands released all these foundations, and some of these smaller indie brands kind of got lost in all of these foundation launches. So I wanted to give it a try. I really love the Beauty Bakerie brand. The owners are amazing, and they're an indie brand, and I want to give this a chance because, you guys, the first foundation that they launched probably like, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. I can't remember. Maybe it's even been a year ago. I can't remember. But the last foundation that they had was horrible. And I felt so bad because I wanted to love it so much, but it dried so quick on my skin that I really couldn't even get it to blend. And it was like I was trying really, really hard and hurrying really fast to blend it in. By the time I could even get it to blend, it was already dried. This one I had high hopes for. A friend of mine had reviewed this, Theresa Is Dead. She reviewed it and she sent me a message on Instagram. I was like, Tara, I think you're gonna really like this one. And it got me more excited to try it out. That's the reason why I'm reviewing it, you guys. I feel like these indie brands released these foundations and they just got pushed to the side. And I wanna give them the review and the attention that they deserve. They also released the new concealer, and it's the dewy version. So if you look on their website, the original foundation and concealer is the matte, and then it will say like the new foundation and concealer is more of their dewier formula. Before we get into the descriptions about both of these products, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background about my skin type and what I like when I am testing out new foundations, because I feel like it's very important for the viewers to know what the person likes in a foundation, because we might not like the same type of thing. I am 40 years old. I have hyperpigmentation. I have adult acne that currently is under control, but with all these new foundation testing, I'm starting to get a little bit of something coming up, but that's okay. I've realized as I've gotten older that applying less is more, so I like to just apply one even layer pump all over the face. I like a natural finish, like a medium coverage, but I don't like cakey foundation. I don't like it too thick. Let's go ahead and get into the description about the foundation. So this foundation retails for $34. You can actually buy this from the Ulta website, which is where I bought it from. This full coverage poreless vegan formula covers anything left in its wake, from uneven tone to scars and blemishes. Aqua Glass Foundation serves as a comfortable wear and is best applied with a damp blending egg sponge or your favorite foundation brush. And it is also best paired with the concealer. In the application, you will see the sponge was definitely the best way to apply it. I did take my brush and kind of just put an even layer over it, but going over it with a sponge is almost key. It's such a thin formula that it will show brush marks. It doesn't dry instantly like the other foundation, but it does dry and it does kind of set down. It's a little bit tacky, but not bad. Yesterday I wore it with powders, so I set it with my Hourglass veil powder and then put a light layer of the finishing powder over top. And when I say that I set it with powder, I lightly set it with powder. Like, I don't go in too heavy with powders. So I did a light layer of the veil and a light layer of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. But today I'm not wearing any powders because I wanted to see how this foundation wears with and without powders. Yesterday I wore it with my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base Primer. Today I wore it with the Tatcha Silk Canvas on one side and the Ole Hendrickson Banana Bright Face Primer on this side. So I kind of wanted to see if it wears any differently with different primers, if this is a foundation that you can play around with and wear it with different primers, with powder or without powder. I got it in the shade 329WN. If you're like me and you want to buy this on Ulta's website, I recommend going to the actual Beauty Bakerie's website first and find your right shade. On Ulta's website, they don't give you any description about the shade of the foundation. All it says is like warm neutral or cool neutral or neutral. Like it doesn't give you this foundation depth, whether it's light, medium, dark, deep dark. It doesn't give you anything like that. So the Beauty Bakerie website actually has a foundation finder. You can go in and do a shade comparison or actually find your undertone, find your shade and all that. I did it both ways because I really wanted to make sure that I was going to get the right shade. So I did the shade finder where I picked medium. I chose the tan option and then I chose warm neutral, and it come back with foundation 329 WN, which is what I bought. And then right below it, it says that the concealers, if you want to conceal, to buy 008, or to highlight or brighten to buy 007. I didn't do that because my friend Theresa Is Dead, when she bought it like that, and the concealer was darker than the foundation. And so even though when she applied it on the skin, the dimension wasn't that noticeable, when she swatched it, the concealer was darker than the foundation. So I didn't really want to do that. So I guessed on my concealer and I did get a good shade. If you go to the shade comparison, so right now currently my perfect shade match is from Fenty and it's the shade 300. And then it suggested 325 neutral or 329 WN. I knew this was the right shade based on having it be that shade in both areas. This was definitely a perfect match for me. In fact, it is a perfect match to my skin. It matches me quite similar to the Fenty. It's not too yellow, it's not too warm, it's not too neutral. It's a perfect amount of warmth and a perfect amount of neutral. Like it's just perfect. It's a perfect shade for me. The concealer is a little bit different. I wish that they had the same type of shade finder and stuff like that for the concealer, but they don't. They don't give you any type of information about what the shade is. So they don't give you any description, any undertone, anything. The reason why they did that is because they want you to use the suggestions when you're doing like your shade finder and stuff. So they figured, well, these are the suggested matches for your concealer based on the shade that we have chosen for you on your foundation. I chose shade 012 Jamsterdam, and this is a perfect shade. Information on the concealer: it is our full coverage InstaBake 3-in-1 hydrating concealer. Not only applies and blends effortlessly, but the finish it leaves behind is one of effortless beauty. Perfect to hide dark circles due to lack of sleep, scarring from some neurotic picking habits, and even discoloration. Let our InstaBake 3-in-1 concealer do the work for you and for your favorite skin smoothing apps. This concealer dries pretty fast, and the best way that I've been able to apply it is with my finger. Yesterday I applied it on both sides with my finger, and this works best with the finger. It starts to dry within 5 to 10 seconds after you apply it, so just be mindful of that. Today I did one side with a brush and one side with a sponge. Brush kind of allows you to move the product around, but it doesn't give you a good finish. So you're gonna have the brush marks and it just doesn't work that well. The sponge does pretty good. It does. The sponge or the finger is gonna work best. In my opinion, the warmth of your fingers stops it from drying as fast as it does with the sponge. So when you're using your finger, it keeps the product a little bit warmer and you can spread it out and keep kind of dabbing it into place. So this concealer retails for $20. The concealer is 4 milliliters and it's a little bit bigger than the Jeffree Star, because the Jeffree Star is 3.4 milliliters and this one is 4. So that's all the information about the foundation and the concealer. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the application portion of the video. I'm gonna come back and do a 6-day wear test, and then I'll come back after wearing it for the 2 full days. Both days I'm going to be wearing this for 12 hours, and I will give you guys my full final thoughts at the end. So I will see you guys then. Okay, I got my hair pulled back. I did just apply my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base because sometimes it's just easier to do that off camera. So let's get started with this new foundation. So this one opens up like this, which I have always thought their packaging was very cute. And I just love like the whole like bakery deal. And they were the original brand that came up with that concept, and I love it. So this is what the actual bottle looks like. Here is the concealer, and that is the smallest concealer I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh, it's so teeny. And the applicator kind of has like this little point on it. That's kind of fun. As you guys know, on one side of the face, I'm going to use a brush, and on the other side, I'm going to use a Sonia Kashuk sponge. Now, my friend Mel Thompson has been talking about this sponge for a really long time. She uses it all the time. And then my other friend, Jen Loves Beauty, she also uses this. And so many people rave about this sponge, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to get me a sponge. I'm going to play with it and see how I feel about it. So I have these two right here. You can probably see my fake tan is coming off. I actually have a date tonight in my bathtub to scrub it off. So I'm gonna go over this with a sponge because even though the brush does spread it out evenly, this is a very thin formula and it kind of shows brush marks. So I'm just gonna go over it with the sponge. This is a really thin application and it's really pretty. Okay, first impression, it's reminding me of the new Hollywood Flawless filter from Charlotte Tilbury. Just the way that it applies. I wouldn't say it's like full coverage like that one, but the texture of it is the same. Like the way that it wants to blend out onto the skin and the way that it kind of dries. That's the vibes this has given me, and it's very smooth and so much better than the other one. Like, you guys, that other one was so hard for me. Like, it was so hard, and I wanted to make it work so bad, but that's really pretty. I got a little bit of the foundation here, and I'm gonna apply this with my sponge. This is really pretty. I am very, very impressed with this so far. It's a very thin formula, and it just kind of glides over the skin, and I like the way this looks so far. I'm going to kind of build up a little bit of coverage, but I'm going to go over my wrinkles area with just the bottom of the sponge and make sure that it's not thick in that area. I don't know that this is a foundation that would be very cakey because it is so smooth over the skin that it doesn't give me that cakey vibe. It's a very thin application. It looks very smooth and very radiant. I think it's a good medium coverage. I can still see my hyperpigmentation peeking through, so I would definitely say this is a nice medium coverage. It's definitely given me the vibes of this one. Like, it kind of, I think the only difference so far that I'm seeing between these two is that this one's full coverage and this one is medium coverage. Okay, I got you zoomed in so you guys can see what this looks like, and it is so pretty. Like, I am obsessed with this. It looks so smooth on my skin, and it's such a thin formula that it doesn't exaggerate any of my texture. It lays beautifully over the skin, and it actually lays pretty good over the wrinkles. The concealer doesn't look too bad under my eyes. Normally, I don't like a fast drying concealer, just because normally a fast drying concealer will like just grab onto your wrinkles and make them look so much worse, but this one doesn't. Like, this one is very smooth under my eyes. So right now it is currently 9:37 in the morning. I'm gonna wear this all day. I might come back and do a midday check-in today, but can you see the radiance that this gives my skin still? Like, I still have a nice radiance to my skin, and I like this so far. Like, I am very, very impressed. So I will probably see you guys in a midday check-in today, and then I will come back tomorrow night after wearing it for the 2 days and give you guys my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, everyone, I am back for a midday check-in, and it is currently 3:18, so it's been on for about 6 hours now, and this foundation looks really good. I love the way this looks. I really, really hope that it lasts like it has. It looks very beautiful on my skin, and I'm obsessed with it so far, you guys. Okay, so here we are zoomed in. I'm gonna have the ring light on for now, and then I'm gonna shut it off, but This looks really good. Like, I love the way this looks. It just looks so healthy and natural. It's very natural. Now, I did apply powders today. Tomorrow, I'm not going to apply any powders because I want to see if powders make a difference. I kind of just want to play around with it. But see how it looks in my wrinkles? Let me see if I can get a close-up shot. See how it looks? No creasing, like 0. It's so good. So good. Okay. Let's shut off the ring light. Okay, so this is without the ring light. I'm sitting in front of a window. It's not direct sunlight, and I have 2 umbrella lights kind of sitting in the corners. But doesn't this look so good? Oh my gosh, this foundation looks so good. I really hope it lasts throughout the day like this. I mean, I'm halfway in, and a friend of mine, Theresa Is Dead, she's reviewed this foundation, and she told me that she loved it for the first 6 hours, and then after the 6 to 8 hour mark, it really starts to kind of break away. So I don't know if that's going to happen with this one. I'm kind of curious, but it is absolutely beautiful. The concealer, I don't mind the concealer so far. I love this. I think both of these are really good products so far. I mean, I'm 6 hours in. We'll see how it goes. So that's it for my midday 6-hour check-in. I will come back tomorrow after wearing it for 2 full days. I'm going to wear it with different primers tomorrow. I'm not going to wear any powders just to see if the powders make a difference. But so far, I'm loving this. So I will see you guys in my final thoughts. Okay everyone, I'm back to give my final thoughts on the foundation and concealer. So it is currently almost midnight, and I've officially had this on for a really long time. I think I started a little bit later than I did yesterday. So I think I probably finished my application probably around like 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock. I had a crazy morning. Let me get into my final thoughts. I love this foundation. I do. I think it's very natural and very pretty. It wears off very natural. It doesn't pull away. If you guys can hear that, it's raining outside, so. Anyway, I've been thinking about this all day. This foundation reminds me of these two. So it is kind of a mixture between the Pat McGrath and the Airbrush Flawless Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. Let me see this. I do feel like this is a medium to buildable full coverage. I think you can build this one. Now, all day it doesn't crease. I would say right around the 8-hour mark, it does start to crease a little bit, but this one wears off very natural. Now, yes, I'm looking very shiny because I am sitting right in front of the ring light. When I turn off the ring light, I won't be as shiny. This kind of gives me this vibe when you first apply it. It's flawless and it's beautiful, and it has this type of finish, but it has this coverage and the lasting power of this. So it's almost like these two came together and had a really good baby. I really like this foundation. Like, out of all the foundations that I've tested, now you guys know it's been a lot. I would say this is at like top 3. This is fantastic. I don't feel like this is going to be for oily skin. Combination, maybe, but you're really going to have to do a good job with setting it. Right now, I do appear much more dewier and much more glossy than I did when I wore it with the powder. So as you know, yesterday I set it with the Hourglass Veil powder and then did a tiny layer of the Charlotte Tilbury finishing powder. I do like the way that this looks better when I set it and put powder over it, but it is a foundation that I don't have to do that, and it still stays and looks very beautiful. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like this foundation from Charlotte Tilbury over the pores. This one is beautiful over the pores. It's smooth, it's radiant, and I love this, you guys. So at first I'm going to do it with the ring light and then I'll shut it off. So of course I've lost a lot of the coverage. Yesterday I maintained the coverage longer because I set it with powders. But today it's wore off very naturally though. Like, I'm okay with it looking like this 12 hours later. What I don't like is when it starts to kind of like gather and like lift from the face or like really separate from the skin. That's what I don't like. This one does start to kind of get creasy. Like I've said, I've lost quite a bit of the coverage, but it's wore off so natural and so beautiful that I love it. I love it in the daylight. I love it in the rear view mirror. It's one of those foundations that looks so good. It's just a beautiful foundation. Like, they really hit the spot on this one. So this is just more natural lighting, and yes, I am looking pretty kind of dewy, but I don't feel oily. I just feel a little bit glossy. You know, I personally think I prefer this one with powder. I feel like this one might be a tad bit too glossy for me without some sort of powder. There are those foundations out there that are beautiful and that have that dewy finish, but sometimes it might be a little bit too dewy as the day goes on, and that's kind of how this one is. This one is definitely one that's dewy and gives you a dewy finish, and if you set it with a little bit of powder, it doesn't take away from the natural dew, but it kind of controls it, especially throughout the day. That's why I don't feel like this is for, you know, oily or combination skin. I just kind of feel like those who have dry normal are probably going to love this the most. Now, as far as the concealer goes, the concealer is not my favorite. I like it, but I don't love it. It kind of reminds me of the new one that I just tested from Shiseido. The Shiseido one doesn't dry as quickly as this one does. But this one kind of is a creaser, so it looks really smooth for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then once it like sets, it starts to kind of crease. And I actually took a picture of it earlier today. It was right after I got done doing my makeup, and I was like, oh wait, why is my concealer looking like that? So I don't know, I think this one is a good one. I don't feel like it's like my favorite, and I think it's just because it is more of like a soft matte. You guys know I like more of a hydrating concealer, and that's just kind of who I am. If you're somebody that likes a soft matte concealer and you like to set your under eye with powder, I think this one might be good for you. Now, it does claim to not need to be set, but I kind of feel like because of the way that it creases, it might need to be set with some sort of powder, because even though it does kind of like dry fast, it does crease. It ends up kind of creasing after like 5 or 10 minutes. So it's a good concealer. I think it's a pretty concealer. I think it does the job, but it's just not my all-time favorite. You know what I mean? Those are my final thoughts on this, you guys. I love this. You guys are going to see me use this so much, because not only is it the perfect shade, but it's beautiful on my skin. This is a phenomenal foundation, and I am just in love. Beauty Bakerie nailed it. Indie brand coming for the win, knocking out so many high-end brands and so many just mainstream brands that have just been knocking out all these foundations, and they just come along and created a fantastic foundation. So kudos to them, because it is bomb. It is so good. So that's it for my final thoughts on the foundation and concealer. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I love you all so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you. Bye.